All right, so a couple of people have said, SouFLoTV, please talk about this. The container of chicken that washed ashore in Jamaica. The people them raid the container, gone at them yard with the chicken, and they are eating the chicken. What do you think about this? We have had people call in live on our show on SouFLoTV, Morning Thoughts on our live show, and one lady was almost in tears. She said, somebody is trying to poison us, and that chicken was put there purposely. It's a bait. Another person said, yes, because them know say Jamaicans licky and grabolicious, so they're going to poison us that way. Another person said, it's an experiment them are running up. They want to see how certain things work. Kind of like the Tuskegee experiment in the United States of America. If you don't know about it, go look it up. But syphilis was injected into a group of black men who actually went to get help, thinking they were actually just being immunized. And what they did was them inject the man them with syphilis and then them sit on one side and watch them where they could collect proper data to know how syphilis actually works on the human body. They followed these men until some of them start going blind and all other kinds of things. That is how they know today how syphilis actually works in the human body. One bag of wickedness. So you can see people being paranoid about this chicken, a whole container of chicken washing ashore in Jamaica. After nobody now giving nothing for free. Who's going to feed the poor out of nowhere? Let's just sail this container of chicken to Jamaica, frozen, and have them nyam it. Well, a lot of them have said, SouFLo, look into this deeply. It is deeper than what surface meets the eye. And we know how you dig already, so you probably can come up with even more. Well, my people, I've been digging. All I have come up with, some people might be disappointed, some might not be, but this is the truth. All right? Now, the Agriculture Ministry started warning the public against the chicken that was being looted from the container, the shipping container that washed ashore in Ashore. First of all, I said to myself, say, Ashore is a food spot. You know you go over Ashore, go get some good food and thing and enjoy the little beach, even though the beach are wash away and them kind of something there. So I find it quite suspicious that that chicken just landed in a food place. It's like the chicken I say, open up the container and take way out and rub we down with some seasoning, jerk some away and curry some away and brown stew some away and make some money. Very, very suspicious that it came in at a point where a lot of culinary arts is taking place then. And if you know anything about business, right, you have overhead costs and then you have profits. Overhead costs is how much it's going to cost you to get the food that you're going to sell after you're done cook it. Profits is how much you make after you subtract from it the overhead cost of how much you paid for the goods that you cooked and sold. So if you get all this free chicken now, overhead cost is zero. It's just bare profits, right? So this could be very tempting for vendors. This could also be very tempting for individuals who want to make a quick money. Load up your car trunk real quick and drive around and sell chicken and sell it cheap and make a good money and go about your business, not true? Right. Another thing I said to myself was, boy, Jamaican people brave. Because you know, say, if I saw that container out there in the water, first of all, I am not going out there to open that container to find out what is in it. Suppose them did open it and a bag of Chinese soldier jump out and kill off everybody. No, I'm just playing. But suppose they opened it and a bomb went off or something. You know, me see a video going around on social media of 2 or 3 or few Jamaican men. Them a catch a shark. And they're catching the shark with a line, fishing line, and bare hands. And the man them literally come face to face with the shark. Now me watch that video and me said, boy, Jamaican people not afraid of nothing, you know. We not afraid of nobody. Not afraid of nobody. Anyway, me would have run gone in my yard long time. Them would have happy come call me at my yard later and tell me how that fishing expedition went because I was not there. I'm afraid of the water when the water get rough, much less we go see shark in it. Anyhow, back to this story now. According to the Gleaner, it says that the container washed ashore on Thursday, April 3rd. It was all over news media. I checked Cayman Islands, it was there. I checked Trinidad and Tobago, it was on their news. I checked Antigua and Barbuda, it was on their news. I read all the articles from all the different Caribbean islands because I was trying to figure out if them know about this chicken landing in Jamaica, or if any chicken ever land in a Fidem island before. So I check all the Caribbean island them along with other things. Well, the container washed ashore on Thursday, April 3rd. Them big, heavy container there. How it take direction and just end up over Hellshire. So, the agricultural ministry now in Jamaica said that the chicken, labeled under the Brazilian brand called Perdix, was not intended for the Jamaican market. It says that it has confirmed that the container fell from a vessel while it was in transit to the Cayman Islands. Now, despite this, there have been widespread reports of looting by members of the public. I went and checked the Cayman Islands news. The Cayman Islands news says chicken intended for Cayman Islands fell off of the ship and washed ashore in Jamaica and is being looted. However, they have no manifesto, no paperwork for that chicken. In other words, then, them don't have no paperwork that said that anybody ordered that chicken, that a whole container of chicken was making its way to the Cayman Islands. They have no trace of that chicken coming there by paper. And that is from the Cayman News. Despite this, then, there have been widespread reports of looting by members of the public, which we saw on the Jamaica News. And it's social media age, so everybody did out there with them smartphone cameras and taking pictures and videos of the people them being very joyous and celebratory, celebrating themselves because a whole heap of chicken just washed in. Remember, one of the man them said the chicken frozen, but the chicken that he tore out of the pack was too soft and limber to be frozen chicken, which right away I started saying to myself, that chicken then are frozen. So you know, if you know, then you know that if meat, raw meat, is not put at a certain temperature and held there from it did good, then that meat not only goes bad, but that meat can become very dangerous. Not only that, you know, imagine if somebody inject all them chicken there with some experimental drugs and then send it, say drop it off in a Jamaica over Hellshire, which part them cook food. And then we will study the population and see how fast whatever it was spread. They're going to eat it, I promise you. These Jamaicans are very unruly. They're going to eat it. And they're watching us from afar, observing to see who are going to get blind, crippled, deaf, impotent, can't make baby, all the other things. Well, the ministry now, through its Veterinary Services Division, has not approved this shipment for entry into Jamaica. We know that the container never asks nobody to run it through customs. The container beach itself. As such, the chicken meat does not meet Jamaica's safety standards and has not received the necessary import permit under the Animal Disease and Importation Act. Further, the public has been alerted that the content of that container would not have been maintained under ideal cold frozen conditions, raising a serious concern about food safety and about spoilage. You know, say, if you name spoil meat. And some of these vendors, you know, them wicked, you know. Them we go wash off the meat, you know, and freeze it back and sell it to you, you know. And by you reach a your yard, you tell yourself, say, boy, I pay a whole heap of money for this, you know. Me not think it too bad still. But what you're forgetting is that it was not frozen before. It was thawed out and bacteria gathered in it. I must tell you that if it was thawed out and bacteria gathered in it, then freezing it or cooking it will not kill the bacteria that is in it. It just bad and it need to dash away. So it is further highlighted that the highly pathogenic avian influenza, bird flu, continues to be a growing global threat. Hence, unverified poultry products pose a serious risk to not only humans but also to animal health and threatens the integrity of Jamaica's poultry industry. If this strain of the bird flu, the highly pathogenic avian influenza, makes itself to Jamaica's shores, you might not have no chicken for a long time because it could actually wipe out all the chicken population on the island or almost all of it. It is a serious thing. This is so bad that they're even saying, don't even feed the chicken to dogs. Don't even feed it to your animals. Dispose of it properly. Dash it away. But not just dash it down a bush. Individuals who may have taken any of the product are strongly advised not to consume or feed it to anybody else, and don't feed it to any animals. And they should immediately contact their local health department for guidance on the safe disposal of it. Them will tell you how to dash it away. The public is also urged to report any instances of sales or distribution of these products to the relevant authorities. That means that if you know anybody, which part, any vendor who have somebody Perdex chicken over there selling, you need to call the police or call the local authorities. So the ministry thanks the public for its continued cooperation as we work to safeguard our public health and integrity of Jamaica's agricultural sector, is what was printed. Honestly speaking, not a lot of people are listening because I see a whole heap of video on social media. I see the man them actually cook the chicken. I saw one video that I thought was quite funny because the brother get on the video with 2 of the chickens still wrapped in the packs, the Perdex pack, and he said, well, themself it dash it away. So him fling the chicken across him front yard. Me I say, boy, him fling it over there so it can go and thaw out in the sun, because cook him or cook it, And next video popped up. Somebody already cooked the chicken and said, boy, you brown stew that chicken here and put little so and so in it and season it right. It good, I saw a next video of somebody jerking it. I saw another video of somebody done cook it already and is eating it. I saw another video of somebody who made soup with it. So Jamaican people are not only not listening, they are also eating it and making videos and showing the videos that they are eating it. So good luck to the agriculture ministry. What we said when we first heard of this was, where was the Ministry of Health? Because the first thing they should have done was send soldier, police over to that container, yellow tape off the area, because you don't know what is in it and you don't know how toxic it is. Yellow tape off the area, then bring in your biohazard teams to test what it was, the chicken and whatever, and if they find out that, well, it's only chicken, then they dispose of it properly, right? Before the people them get to the chicken and start carry the chicken go to them yard. That should have been the first thing that was done. No law enforcement was sent to the area. The people them had free reign, even while it was streamed on all streaming platforms, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. I'm sure law enforcement saw it and sure they knew where the location was. Nobody went over there and tried to take control of the scene. Well, a few questions that might bother people are the same questions that I asked, like what diseases can be transferred to humans through chicken, raw chicken? And can people be poisoned, or can poison be spread through chicken meat even after it is cooked? Cause that me concerned about. Because, if the people them cook it already, I just want to know if them are got dead or if there's a possibility that they could cook out the poison out of the chicken. Couple of things we learned about the company whose name is on the chicken, and about the sicknesses, illnesses that can come from nyamming this chicken. So let's start off with this one first and say that Brazilian brand Perdix. That's the name that was on the chicken, right? Perdix is actually a food brand that was created by a company called BRF, and BRF started back in 1934 and merged into two small Italian families merging together to form Perdix and BRF. They are one of the largest food companies in Brazil and one of the biggest exporters of poultry products worldwide. In Brazil, they are considered to be high quality and they cater to both local and international market. Big business. So I don't know, little one thing drop off somewhere, somebody fix it up, put it together and trying to send it to Jamaica. Now, when I went and looked at their products, they do boneless chicken breasts, them do whole chicken, them do chicken sausages, Frank's chicken nuggets, margarine, butter, them do cream, them do cheese, they even do bread. BRF is one of the largest global food companies with nearly 90 years of history. I'll go up in 100, nearly 90 years of history, right? Dr. Dawes in Jamaica also urged the public not to consume these chicken products from these washed up container, of course, because of all the illnesses that we're going to get into, the possibilities of these taking place, right? Now, we went a little bit further because we wanted to find out who owned Perdix and who owned BRF. And what we found out was a company called Marfridge Global Foods SA is the majority stakeholder, with Saudi Arabia being their second largest stakeholder in this company. Because we are trying to figure out who could have put this together. Now, Marfridge is the second largest food processing company after JBS. Their headquarters is located in Sao Paulo with 33 production units around the world, operational bases in 22 countries, exporting their products to over 100 countries around the world. Remember me telling you, say I know nothing small. Seeing? So very well the possibilities, rough seas, somebody didn't fasten down that container properly, it could have possibly drifted off, fell off the thing and drifted over to Jamaica. The more I dig and read is the more I see the possibility of that happening. Jamaica's biggest danger from this is the H5N1 strain of the bird flu. You're talking about stuff like E. coli, Campylobacter, Salmonella, brucellosis, toxoplasmosis, trichinosis, Warning, here's a warning for you. You cannot freeze or cook the poisoning out of the food or out of the meat. You can't. It's not food until you cook it and prepare it to be food. So let's say the raw meat. You cannot freeze or cook the poisoning out of it. It will harm you even after it is properly seasoned and cooked. Jerk, curry, soup, whichever way you prepare it, it will still bring about harmful results if contaminated and then if consumed. So back to my question them now. What diseases can be transferred to humans through this meat? Because that's where the big concern is. The lady that called in to SouFLoTV that was almost in tears, because she said somebody had tried poison off the little island of Jamaica. That was her main concern. Several diseases, including E. coli, Listeria. You know what? Let me just go down the line and just tell you about them. So E. coli, for instance, certain strains of E. coli, like the we're not even going at the long word. The EHEC version of the E. coli can cause severe illness. You're talking about diarrhea, vomiting. Some people vomit till them all start vomit up blood, right? You're talking about severe dehydration, could even lead to failure of organs, including hemorrhaging, colitis, or other kind of illnesses that can possibly lead to death. Listeria. Listeria monocytogenes can cause listeriosis, a rare but potentially lethal foodborne infection. That means you can dead from it too. And it can grow in temperatures from 4 degrees Celsius to 37 degrees Celsius, which is 40 degrees Fahrenheit to 96 degrees Fahrenheit, which is human body temperature. So listeria could be in you, growing in you, and then become deadly to you. And it's not going to happen overnight, but it will happen over time, right? There's another one that's called Campylobacter. Campylobacter. The Campylobacter jejuni is a common cause of foodborne illnesses, often associated with poultry. And this can cause symptoms like diarrhea, fever, vomiting, abdominal cramps, headaches, these kind of things. Salmonella. We're probably more familiar with salmonella. Salmonella bacteria can cause salmonellosis, a foodborne illness characterized by more diarrhea, fever, abdominal cramps, vomiting, etc., nausea, these kind of things. You feel bad, you're doo-doo, you're pee-pee, and you're vomiting at the same time. If you have ever had a bad case of food poisoning, which I have, had a bad case of food poisoning, it was coming out all holes. Okay, no pun intended. I was there shitting, pissing, vomiting at the same time. I mind you know. Sit down on the toilet and have to have a bucket in front of me so I can vomit in the bucket while me a doo-doo and pee-pee at the same time. It just like it takes control of your complete system. Lord have mercy, me think me did I go dead. It is that serious. Then there's another thing called brucellosis. Brucellosis is a bacterial disease that spreads through contact with infected animals or the consumption of contaminated animal product, including meat, chicken. And this can cause the same symptoms, except this one also brings joint pains, and joint pains that can last quite some time. Your joint them swell up and so on and so forth. Then there is the toxoplasmosis. Toxoplasmosis caused by a parasite, Toxoplasma gondii. In other words, and this disease can be transmitted through the consumption of undercooked, especially lamb, mutton, pork, not so much chicken, but it could very well be in the chicken as well. And when them put in the chicken, which entertainer did say that? There's another thing called or trichinosis. This parasitic disease now is caused by the trichinella worm. And this is transmitted by consuming raw or uncooked meat if you don't cook it too good. Particularly pork, beer meat, and them the kind of something, but it could also very well be in the chicken. And guess what? This one here, worms will be invading your system. Alright, I'm saying all this because I've done my research. I look up the thing them, so I want the people them to be educated about what the possibilities are of you consuming that chicken that was washed ashore. One of my subscribers said, SouFlo, how Jamaica handles this? If I was in Jamaica, I'm not eating any chicken for the next year because vendors might have the chicken selling it out a road. They might rip the chicken out the bag, the Perdex bag that the chicken washed ashore in, wrap it in a them own bag, freeze it back, sell it to you. Or it might be a jerk vendor on the street who chop it up, jerk it, and I sell it to you. You know, I don't want worms invading my system. I don't know if y'all ever saw this show. It's called Something Inside of Me. And the show is basically about people who traveled to other places around the world and ate something and drink something, and then suddenly their inside was invaded. One of the man them, when them put him through the x-ray machine, he had millions of worms from his head to the bottom of his feet. All over inside of him, the worms had invaded him. And some of the worms were coming out of him bottom, like the doctor pull out some big worms. Some of the worms look like snakes, okay, because it had been years that they were in him, and them grow fast, and he kept going through like he was getting sicker and sicker. Seeing? So the vomiting became more regular. The muscle cramps became more regular to the point where he could hardly walk anymore. It's when he got to death's door, which was about 2 years after he took that trip. When he got to death's door is when they realized what that was, and they were finally able to treat it and save him, but they almost lost him. So me watch them, that kind of show that something in growing inside of me, or something inside of me, and them thing that make me afraid. So I myself, if I was in Jamaica, I would not be eating that chicken. Matter of fact, I probably wouldn't be eating chicken, period, because I don't know where that chicken might have made it to. Food poisoning. The other question was, can poison be spread through food? Because I want to know if anybody might have poisoned the supply and then put it there so Jamaicans could find it and they could poison us in a big group or spread poison throughout the country. The answer is yes. Food can be poisoned, chicken can be poisoned, and you can cook it and not be able to cook the poison out of it, and then people can slowly die from it. Now, food poisoning can occur when eating the chicken, even after it is cooked, if it was contaminated with bacteria or other toxins as well, or if not handled and stored properly. Obviously, y'all saw the chicken, it was in that container. The container was not regulated by temperature. This kind of answers your question right here. Bacteria and toxins. Raw chicken can be contaminated by bacteria, like we talked about before, Salmonella and Campylobacter, while cooking to a safe internal temperature kills these types of bacteria. Some bacteria, like Staphylococcus, pardon me pronunciation, Staphylococcus, and the Bacillus cereus produce toxins that are not destroyed through high temperatures of cooking. So, work with me a little bit through the pronunciation, because I try to bring the thing to on a level, right? Now, these, you can't cook them out. So no matter how you cook it, you're still going to get sick, right? Then there's cross-contamination, and then there's spillage, and then there's putting good food safety into practice. But one of the best food safety you could put into practice is staying away from the chicken that was in that container. Now, to the Jamaicans that have consumed that chicken, if not do you, then not do you. But remember, there are things that could be happening to you right now that might not show up right now, but might show up later on down the road. So that's the warning on this video. And again, I'll close this video by saying this. Remember, it's not everything that you can cook out or freeze out of that meat. You cannot freeze or cook some poisons out of the meat. It will harm you even after it is so-called properly cooked at high temperatures. And you can jerk it, you can curry it, you can put it in a soup, you can do whatever. It is still going to harm you regardless. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. Would you take your chances eating that chicken, or would you not? The question of the day is, did somebody purposely put a poisoned supply of chicken there for Jamaicans to find? The answer is, we still don't know, because all we know so far is no Jamaican specialist biohazard people scientists have taken any of that chicken and tested it in a lab to tell us if it was contaminated with some type of poison or anything. We are not there, so we don't know. And as far as we have traced it, we traced it back to a reputable company who does business globally with 22 countries they have operational bases in, and they export their products to over 100 countries across the world. So we can't say it's them send it with poison. And even looking into their investors or anybody else, we found nothing. So I guess this comes down to the Jamaicans. Don't eat the chicken. I'll catch you on the next video. It's SouFLoTV. I'm out. Peace.